Good morning. Let us begin with valuation of human resources. Before we begin with valuation of human resources, we should understand why human resource valuation and can it be accounted in the books? Can it be accounted in books? Okay, before we go into all those things, assume that you are running a software company which is developing applications or which is creating softwares for industrial use, okay, like Infosys, Wipro, okay. So your earnings depends on chairs, tables, systems, or human resources. The quality of human resources brings you earnings to the company, okay. The talented human resources gives you the earnings to the company. Otherwise, earning capacity of the company depends on the quality of human resources that you possess, right? For example, the quality of employees, the teams, the team leaders, or the heads or CEOs determine the earnings to the company. Okay, then of course your computers or net connections or your the cubicles that you're having or the buildings that you're owning. Okay, so for such companies, for the intellectual companies, or let us take a hospital. Okay, the crowd in the hospital or the patients that is coming to the hospital depends on the quality of doctors, the quality of staff that you possess, or the quality of management that you're having. Okay, so let us take the one of the best example which everybody knows, the value of Google, okay, depends on the quality of employees, okay. So so the human resources also gives you future economic benefits, okay. They give you future economic benefits, they give you earnings, okay. If you lose a good employee, okay, the companies never try to lose a good employee, they try to counsel them. When you put a paper, when you're a good employee or a performing employee, okay, they counsel you, they try to be keeping you within the company, because if they lose you, they will lose revenue, okay. But if a bad employee leaves, they don't mind, okay. But if a good employee leaves, they try to retain in the company. Why? Because if they lose a human asset, they lose bigger earnings in the future. So value of those companies depends on human resource valuation, okay. Maybe for about 10 years back, some institutes from North India came to Bharadwaj Institute. They said we can merge. I said, how it is possible for us to merge? Because we are coaching providers. How it is possible for us to merge? They said we can value you and we can pay you the price. Okay, how to value the price? We can value the chair, table, projector, computers. Okay, that's a scrap value or replacement value that is available, or market value available. For human resources, how will you value it? They said, when you join or when you merge with our entity, okay, for every individual, for example, let us take PC, okay, he is handling these subjects in these areas, CMA, these papers, CA, these papers, okay, your age is 40, okay, next 10 years or 15 years you will be able to teach, okay, 15 years into, let us assume yearly minimum two batches into this much students expected to join through our promotion methods or through your past earned goodwill or whatever, okay. So this many students, and this is the expected revenue to be generated over a period of next 10 years. Into present value factor they applied for course wise, and they said this is your value. Then I thought, okay, that was a good offer. They offered me somewhere about 40 lakhs 10 years back, okay. So 40 lakhs was a good offer. Apart from that, you will get a regular salary. 40 lakhs we will pay you. Apart from that, you will get a regular salary for working here, okay. Then we dropped the idea because they said Bharadwaj Institute brand should not be there. They said you should merge with our brand. There will be no more institute called as Bharadwaj Institute. I said, if you send us out maybe in 2 or 3 years, we cannot recreate the brand and we cannot promote. So we cannot join like that. But look at, while doing mergers and acquisitions, they value the human resources. They value each and every human resources in the company. Okay, like me, other faculties are also were valued. And one of the reason why it dropped is Asaf sir had a better value or Vatsal sir had a better value than me, then I should not get lesser amount. So we dropped the idea. That is a different one. Okay, but still, while doing mergers and acquisitions, we see the value of human resources and we go with mergers. So valuation is done for human resources, practically also while going for mergers and amalgamations. Okay, how to value the human resources? How to value the human resources? The first model we call it as historical cost model. You can take notes. Historical cost model. Start. Historical cost model. Okay, simple. Human resources are valued at cost. Sir, what do you mean by cost? Cost of acquisition. Probably recruitment cost, selection cost, initial training cost. Okay, sometimes you may pay joining bonus when a good employee is joining a company. Okay, so those things, cost of acquisition is taken. That is called as which model? Historical cost model. Historical cost model. Advantage is simple to calculate. Whenever an employee is taken in, simple, whenever a batch of employees are taken in, you will have cost of recruiting them, cost of selecting them, cost of training them, cost of initial training for about 3 or 4 months. You have to give them training, okay, so that they will adapt to the organization. So include or capitalize all these costs and include in the value. So that is called as which model? Historical cost model. But this model was criticized. This model was criticized because you are representing historical cost of the human resources. Let us assume an employee joined about 15 years back. Historical cost was, let us assume, 2 lakhs. If you recruit the employee today, will you be able to get at the same cost? It may be high or it may be what? Low. So historical cost represents past values which may not be related with current or future, because valuation is always futuristic. So this model was criticized. This is one of the model, historical model. Human resource was valued at cost of acquisition. The second model that was there was replacement cost model. Sir, what is this replacement cost model? Current cost of replacing human resources. Okay, for example, let's assume we have got about 300 employees in different grades. There may be general manager, or there may be a production manager, marketing manager, finance manager. There may be accounts executives, production executives, marketing executives, like that. There may be different levels, different people. Okay, if you have to replace them, today, let us send out 300 people. We want to find out an identical 300 human resources in the market. What will be the cost? That is called as what? Current cost of replacing the human resources that you are having. Okay, that will be more realistic, because how much you are going to spend to replace the existing human resources probably appears like a good model, but the problem is it possible to find out an identical employee? Very difficult. Okay, and it's not possible to exactly work out the current cost of replacement. The current cost of replacement may be more or it may be less. Okay, so it is very difficult for you to find out the cost of replacing all human resources. And human resources are not traded in the market like shares. You cannot find out the value. Okay, so you have to, for example, certain positions. For example, let us assume Google wants to replace, let us assume, Mr. Sundar Pichai. They will not do it, but they want to replace. Is it possible to find out an identical employee? Not by appearance, I am telling, but with the quality, quality of work, with the quality of leading the team and developing the content and thinking. Is it possible to get it? Not possible to get it. So replacement cost is a good model, but the problem is it is very difficult for you to find out replacement cost for all the human resources. Okay, but this is suggested as one of the model for replacement. Okay, so historical cost model is one model, replacement cost model is the second model, and the third model was opportunity cost model. opportunity cost model. What is opportunity cost model? Let us take a company's earnings. Earnings of the companies, let us assume, or earnings of a department or a division or a branches, let us assume 25 lakhs. Okay, if the employee joins, the earnings will be 30 lakhs. The employees, because of the employee, we are going to get an earnings of how much? 30 lakhs. So there is an opportunity of earning 5 lakhs extra. There is an opportunity of earning 5 lakhs extra when you are appointing a human resources. Okay, so when you are getting a human resource or when you are getting an employee for this position, you will try to offer him maximum 5 lakhs. You will try to offer him maximum 5 lakhs. You will start negotiating with 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, but maximum you can offer how much? 5 lakhs like that. Opportunity cost model. This opportunity cost model is worked like anything in hospitals, especially in hospitals. When you start a multi-speciality hospital, nowadays hospitals also becoming like more than a doctor-run clinic, investment-based clinics, investment-based multi-speciality centers. Okay, where if a human resource is going to join my hospital, because of that my revenue will increase. So what I will do is, I'll try to pay him an initial bonus or joining bonus. Thereafter I will pay him based on the opportunity cost based. Cost is nothing but how much I give, offer as a bid to the employee. Bid means how much I pay versus how much I get because of the employee. Based on that, you can go for valuing the human resources also. Okay, for examination point of view, based on opportunity cost model, a question can be tested. We'll work out first from your ICMA material, then we'll proceed further. So you may be having the same study material or a different one. The page number might be different. Please ignore them. Okay, so but it is there in the human resource valuation. A company has a capital base of 1 crore. It has estimated profit to the extent of 11 lakhs. ROI is 12.5%. If it is acquired by a company, its expected profit will increase by 2,50,000 over the targeted profit. It will increase by 2,50,000 over the targeted profit. Determine the maximum bid price means how much you can offer to a particular, it's not executive, and maximum salary that could be offered to him. That's what maximum bid price that you can pay. I request you to read the problem, then we will solve it. ROI is 12.5%, right? Your earnings will increase by 2,50,000 over the targeted profit. 12.5% on 1 crore, 12,50,000 plus 2,50,000 you will be getting. That is going to be the expected earnings. Okay, when an employee joins, let us see. What is the capital base? 1 crore. What is the actual profit? 11 lakhs. Okay, what is the targeted profit? 12.5%, which means 12,50,000. If the employee is going to join, 12,50,000 plus we will get 2,50,000 extra. So you will get 15 lakhs. You will get 15 lakhs as the profit. We estimate that if the employee joins, we will get 15 lakhs. Okay, so 15 lakhs is the expected profit. At present, we are earning 11 lakhs. As I was telling you in the small example, okay, 4 lakhs is the additional earnings we are getting. Okay, so 4 lakhs when you capitalize, by 12.5%, 4 lakhs by 12.5%. Same like capitalization method of valuation of goodwill or valuation of intangibles, right? 4 lakhs is the earnings. If an asset can give you 4 lakhs of earnings, how much you can invest when you are expecting 12.5%? For example, this building, let's assume we'll give you a rent of or earnings of 4 lakhs. Okay, let us assume there will be no capital appreciation. There will be no capital gain. Only income is the rent. Okay, so 4 lakhs it will give you rent. Your expected rate of return is 12.5%. When you capitalize it, the capitalized value is nothing but 32 lakhs. That is the maximum bid price or value of the human resource. The salary that you can offer is nothing but this 4 lakhs. Maximum salary is 4 lakhs. Okay, 32 lakhs into 12.5%. It's like I'm investing in an asset like 32 lakhs. This is like value. On the 12.5%, maximum I can pay 4 lakhs. Right? So simple. How to work out under this particular method? Calculate the expected earnings, that is 15 lakhs. See the actual profit, that is 11 lakhs. What is the increase in earnings? 4 lakhs. By the required rate of return will give us the maximum bid price or the value. The salary that can be offered is nothing but the additional profit that you can get because of the human resource. We will not offer the entire 4 lakhs as salary. We will negotiate. For example, we will negotiate like 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, like that we will negotiate, but more than 4 lakhs we will not offer. Right? Yeah, let us come to the Bharadwaj material, R material. I have given problems based on that. I hope till question number 5 we have done. Question number 6 we will do it. This is also human resource valuation. Question number 7 and 8 is based on this opportunity cost model. Yeah, I will work out. I remember this question number 9 was given as a homework. I will do that later. Now go through this. Capital base is 5 lakhs. Profit is 50,000. Return on investment is 12%. If a particular engineer is hired, the profits will increase by 30,000. The profits will increase by 30,000 over the targeted profit. So what is the maximum bid price and the salary payable? Let us work out. Current profit 50,000. Target profit will be return on investment. What is the return on investment? 5 lakh into 12%. 60,000 plus 30,000. Over the targeted profit, it is going to be 30,000. 90,000 is the target profit. 90,000 is the target profit. What is actual profit earned? 50,000. What is the excess that is earned? So maximum bid price 40,000 divided by 12%. Right? 5 lakh into 12%, 60,000 plus 30,000 increase in profit 90,000. At present we are earning a profit of 50,000. So excess earnings are 40,000. That into that divided by 12% will give us maximum bid price 3,33,333.33. Excess earnings is nothing but the maximum salary that can be paid. Next question is also based on this. I hope this is there in the study material also. This is similar to the study material problem. I need not work out. 1 crore into 12.5%, 12.5 lakhs plus 2.5 lakhs. It will be 15 lakhs minus 11 lakhs will give you 4 lakhs of profit. 4 lakhs of profit divided by 12.5%. The same thing which we had seen in your study material. I remember question number 9 I have to work out. Question number 9 I have got to work out. I'll do that later. Hope you understood this question. This is opportunity cost based model. Okay. To an extent this is close to practical world. To the extent this is close to practical world. Done. Hope you have taken up this. Next valuation model. We had seen historical cost model, replacement cost model, okay, and opportunity cost model. Next model is based on present value. This is based on the present value of economic benefits paid to the HR, otherwise present value of cash flows. Present value of cash flows. This is developed by Lev and Schwartz. This is also known as Lev and Schwartz model. The person who has developed this Lev and Schwartz. This is known as Lev and which model? Schwartz model. Simple, he says you calculate the value of human resources based on the economic benefits paid to him. For example, let's assume a person is going to be paid a salary of 8 lakhs per annum. Okay, and 8 lakhs per annum is going to work for next 20 years. Is going to work for next 20 years. So work out the present value of this 8 lakhs paid over 20 years period. That is the value of that particular person. Okay, if there is one employee like that, it is easy to work out. But if there are multiple employees, what to do? And salary is not constant also. Salary increases based on experience, based on performance, like that. So there are a lot of things which we have to assume while developing this Lev and Schwartz model. Okay, assumptions. Please note assumptions or features of this model. Number one, ignore inflation factor, because we cannot predict what will be the price in the next year, year after next year, like that. So please ignore inflation factor. Okay, that is the first assumption he makes. Second assumption is salary or increments that are given, or pay scale is based on age or experience and not based on any other factor, For example, it's like a government service, like you are in government service. Like, for example, when you join today, next 5 years, this is your salary. Next 10 years, this is your salary, like that. Okay, so the salary increments are given. Our salary is going to be based on age or experience and not based on what? Any other factor. Then employees belonging to the same pay scale or structure can be grouped. For example, level 1, 100 employees in this pay scale, or in the next pay scale, like that, you can group them. How to group them? I'll show this example. Look at this example. They would have specified you Lev and Schwartz model to use. Distribution of employees of J Limited. You can look at age group 30 to 39. Okay. 100 employees of unskilled category is there. Their salary is going to be 18,000. From 30 to 39. 30, 31, 32, 30, like that. You have to include 30 also. 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 39. Like that, if you include, it will be 10 years. So for next 10 years, these 100 employees are going to take up a salary of 18,000. Thereafter they will, this 30 to 39. Okay, once you complete 39th year, you will go to 40th year. So from 40 to 49, these 100 employees will be receiving 30,000 rupees till their 49th year. Thereafter, these 100 employees will be receiving 36,000 during the last 5 years of their service. like that. Second category, this 40 to 49 age category, 50 employees are there. They will be receiving 30,000 rupees salary till the age of 49. Once they complete 49, these 50 employees will move to the pay scale of 36,000. Will move to the pay scale of 36,000. Okay, and the third segment employees who are in the age group of 50 to 54, next 5 years, these 30 employees will receive how much? 36,000, like that. Like that, for unskilled, semi-skilled and skilled, the grouping is done and given to us. Okay, so employees belonging to the similar or pay scale can be grouped. Okay, if age is given in class intervals, then assume that employees are there in the lowest of that class interval. For example, this 100 employees, what is their age? 30 to 39. Their age may be 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 38. But for the purpose of examination point of view or for the purpose of valuation point of view, assume that they are in the 30th year of age. So these 100 employees are there in the 30th year of age. These 50 employees are there in the 40th year of age. These 30 employees are in the 50th year of age, like that. That is applicable for all sales, semi-skilled, skilled, unskilled, like that. Okay, so that may be a limitation also. Ignore labor turnover. We assume that these 100 employees will continue till their retirement. Drawing 18,000 rupees for next 10 years, 30,000 rupees for the next 10 years, last 5 years they will be getting 36,000, like that. And in this category, this 50 employees, next 10 years they will be getting 30,000, next 36,000, next how much? 36,000 they will be drawing. Okay, so there is no labor turnover, should be assumed. Assume there is no labor turnover. Then apply the weighted average cost of capital as a discounting factor for calculating the present value. So please note these assumptions. Okay, ignore which factor? Inflation factor. Salaries based on the experience, not based on other factors. Then employees belonging to the same pay scale or pay structure shall be grouped. Then if age is given in class intervals, what to do? Assume that employees are belonging to the lowest class interval. Ignore labor turnover, and discounting factor is nothing but the weighted average cost of capital. I forgot to tell you about examination point of view. The previous model that we discussed, this can be tested sometimes in 1 mark or sometimes in 3 to 4 marks, like that. Maximum 4 marks, minimum 1 mark for this particular area. But this one, Levin-Schwartz model, is most important for about 8 marks in the exam. If that is tested, it will be for 8 marks. You will understand why it is so, because in Excel I can do it easily. Okay, but for you it will take some time. It will take some time for you to solve them. Okay, shall we? Look at the first one. What is the cost of capital? 10%. 10%. From 30 years to 54 years. 30 years to 54 years. 10 years here, 10 years here, 5 years here. Totally how many years? 25 years. Totally 25 years of service. totally 25 years of service. So we need discounting factor for 25 years. We need discounting factor for 25 years. Okay. So first let us work out. Discounting factor for 25 years at 10%. 10% PV factor. 10% PV factor. Okay, simple. How to work out 1 divided by 1.1, or you can refer to present value tables. For first year, second year. PV factor we need it for 25 years. So first 10 years is this one. Okay, next. Yeah. So this is the PV factor for how many years? 25 years. You can refer it from your present value table also. Okay, for the purpose of calculation, we want first 10 years, next 10 years, last 5 years, like that. Okay. So the first 10 years, the PV factor will be the total of all these things. Because we have to multiply, 1 to 10 years. Then, sorry, we need 5 years also. You need not work out all these things. Like this, we need PV factors for solving the problem. 1 to 5 years, why do we need it? Because of the last one. These employees are going to be there only for 5 years. Okay, 1 to 10 years we need it for this category. And these employees are there. So 1 to 10 year, okay, 11 to 20th year. These employees are going to be there for the last 5 years also. So we want 25 years PV factors. So 1 to 5 years is nothing but sum of, you can do it in calculator if you do not have, if you do not do Excel workings. Okay, sum of the first 5 years PV factor is 1 to 5 years. 1 to 10 years PV factor is sum of the 10 years PV factors. Otherwise in calculator, if you have a present value table, just add 10 years PV factors. 11 to 20 years, sum of, sorry, okay, this is sum of the last 5 years factors. Okay, so 1 to 5 years, 1 to 10 years, 11 to 20 years, 21 to 25th year. Okay, these are the PV factors that we are going to use for multiplying. Okay, so I request you to copy this, not this. This will be there in the present value tables, not this. These factors I request you to take up. Present value factor at the rate of 10%. This working I have done to tell you how to take it from the present value tables, right? 1 to 5 years, you just sum it up. 1 to 10 years, then 11th to 20th year, then 21 to 25th year, like that. We need it for calculating the present values. Now what I request to copy is not this one, but this one. I request you to take up this one. One to 5 years, yeah, 1 to 10 years we want, then 10, 11 to 20, then 21 to 25, like that. Done. Now we can work out. Okay. HR valuation, Levens-Watts model. Oh, so let me do it for unskilled workers first. Okay. Unskilled category, 30 to 39. Okay. What is the salary? 1 to 10 year. Next 10 years they will be getting this. Then 11th to, oh sorry, next 10 years they will be getting the salary. 11th year to 20th year. Otherwise, when they are in 30 to 39, the next 10 years. 40 to 49, this one. 21 to 25, that means they are last 5 years of service. They are going to work for next 25 years to the company. So what is their salary? What is their salary? 18,000 into so 18,000 into 100 workers are there. This is annual earnings, okay, not monthly earnings. So 18,000 into 100. So this they will be getting for next 10 years. Okay, 11th year onwards, these 100 workers will move to the next pay scale. What is their next pay scale? 30,000. The last 5 years, these 100 workers will move to the next pay scale, 36,000. 30 to 39. Then 40 to 49 category. Okay, so they are going to work for next 10 years or 15 years. 1 to 10. Then okay, I'll probably put it like 30 to 39 to avoid confusion. 30 to 39. This is 40 to 49 age. This is 50 to 54. Okay, so 10 years, 5 years. So this will be like 40 to 49. 50 to 54. So what will be their salary? 50 employees will be drawing 30,000. And these 50 employees will move to 36,000. Right? For these 50 employees, next 10 years they will be drawing 30,000. Last 5 years they will be drawing 36,000. That is 40 to 49. Next category, 50 to 54 category. Yeah, they are in the last 5 years of service. So how many employees are there? 30 into 36,000. Next 5 years only. Okay, so this is their cash flow or earnings. What is the present value factor? Present value factor will be 1 to 10 years. 1 to 10 years PV factor will be applied here. And for them, this will be from 11th year to 20th year. 11th year to 20th year. This will be the last 5 years. This will be the last 5 years salary. Okay, so if you make it, if you have to explain this, 1 to 10, this is 11 to 20, this is from 20 to 25. Okay, for these people also 1 to 10 year, 1 to 10 year, this is from one more PV factor we want, 11 to 15th year. Okay, so 1 to next 10 years, the PV factor already we know, this much we know. Okay, and 11 to 15 years we have to work out. 11 to 15 years, 11 to 15 years, the PV factor, this one, 11 to 15 years. This is during the next 5 years, so 1 to 5 years already we worked out. Okay, so hope you understood. Okay, this is the most important part. We assume that the employees are in the lower class interval of their age limits. So next 10 years this much, so their present value factors are this much. 11 to 20 years, this will be the salary. Last 5 years, the present value is this much. Those who are in the age group of 40 to 49, next 10 years, the present value factor is same. Then 11 to 15 years, they will be drawing this much. And those 50 to 54 years, they are in the last 5 years of service. Next 5 years, they will be drawing this particular salary. So when you multiply, present value of inflow is nothing but cash flows into present value factors. Cash flows into the present value factors. We have not completed everything, only skilled employees, unskilled employees we worked out. Right? So this is the value of unskilled workers. Value of unskilled workers, this is the value. So in the examination, yes, it will take time. It takes time to work out. Okay, this is for unskilled workers. Like this, we have to do for semi-skilled workers and skilled workers. For me, probably time of working may be little less because I'm going to use the same Excel sheet. This is unskilled workers. I'll probably shift it here. Okay, next let us go for semi-skilled. Okay, hope you have taken up this. semi-skilled workers, better to use the word PV of earnings, right? You tried. Why can't you pause the video and try it on your own? Why can't you pause the video and try it on your own for semi-skilled? For this group, 30 to 39 group in the semi-skilled category, what is the thing? 60 into 36,000. This one is going to be 60 into 48,000. $60 into 60,000. Then for the 40 to 49 category, 30 into 48,000. This one, 20 into 60,000. Present value factors are going to be same. Present value factors are going to be same. Okay, their present value of earnings will be this multiplied with the present value factors. So this is the value of semi-skilled workers. This is the value for semi-skilled workers. If you have done any calculation mistakes, please bear with me, correct yourself. Okay, so hope there is no calculation mistakes. Yeah, semi-skilled workers working is over. Then skilled workers. You try it on your own, skilled workers. $40 into 84,000. $40 into 1,20,000. 40 into 1,80,000. $20 into 1,20,000. $20 into 1,80,000. This one, 10 into 1,80,000. This multiplied with present value factor. So total is total of all the three values. Total of all the three values gives us value of human resources. So this is the value of human resources. So skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled, we work out separately. First category alone, 1 to 10 years, 11 to 20 years, then last 5 years. Second category, 1 to 10 years, then next 5 years, because their service period is only 15 years from now. The last category is 5 years service. So we work out the present value factors for all these things and we calculate. So probably this takes a lot of time in working. That's why I tested for more marks. Take it up. So this is the value of human resources. Yeah, this model has a lot of criticisms. Yeah, any model that you develop, it will have criticisms all over the world. Any rule that you make, it will have criticisms. This model's main criticism is it ignores inflation, it ignores labor turnover, and salary may not increase with your experience alone. So there may be promotions in between, there may be performance-based incentives in between. So there are a lot of other factors also, right? I hope the same problem is available in your CMA material also. Okay, so they have done the workings. Is it matching with our working? It's different. Probably because of some factors, number of years factors or present value factors that we round up, the answers would have been different. This also we had seen. This illustration 42 we had seen. What is the maximum bid price that is payable also we had seen. Okay. The difference would have come because of the present value factors, nothing else. But hope you understood the principle of valuation of human resources, right? Yeah, the homework question now. B Limited has been approached by another company, C Limited, that is interested in buying the copyright. How to succeed? To estimate the value of copyright, the following assumptions are made. 1,50,000 after cash flows for next 3 years. 1 lakh is for subsequent 2 years, so totally 5 years. 40% is going to be there, which is going to be discounted at 7%. 60% is going to be there, which is going to be discounted at 10%. So 1,50,000 for 3 years, then 1 lakh for subsequent 2 years. Okay. This is going to be the cash flow. In this cash flow, 40% is going to be with 7%. That is going to be discounted with some factor. The balance 60% is going to be with some other discounting factor, some other risk factor. Okay, for this present value factor should be taken at 7%. For this, it should be taken at 7%, which is 1 divided by 1.07. 1 divided by 1.07. So present value of inflow for this segment hidden. Yeah. And for this segment, present value factors at the rate of 10%. Total of present value of both the inflows will give us the value of the copyright. Value of copyright is the total of present value of inflow of both. Right? So we calculate the present value of inflow to calculate the value of copyright. This is for your homework question number 9. Done? Next. Yeah, hope you copied this. If not, pause the lecture and copy it. We'll move on to question number 10. We'll move on to question number 10. D Limited is specializing in offering technical consultations. EBIT is 51.5 lakhs and the net income is 23 lakhs. Okay. The firm has spent 14 lakhs in training and recruitment expenses. Any consultancy firms, okay, consultant who is joining the firm expected to serve the firm for 4 years. Training and recruitment expenses are amortizable over how many years period? 4 years period. We are going to write off over 4 years period. Okay, this was spent 4 years before, 3 years before, 2 years before, 1 year before, and current amount is given. Okay, they have asked you to find out the value of human resource capital means unamortized amount and how much will be adjusted against net income. Read through the problem once again. If required, pause the video, read through the problem once again, then we will solve it. So what is the amount spent? Amount spent 4 years back. What is the value? 8.3 lakhs. 8,30,000. 9,10,000. Then 10,40,000. Lakhs. And current year, how much is spent? 14 lakhs. Okay. Amortization for the first year, that is amount spent 4 years back, this would have been amortized like this: 8,30,000 divided by 4 years. They are using 4 years amortization. So this year 2,07,500. This year they would have written off 2,07,500. Each year they would have written off 2,07,500. So this would have been amortized over a period of 4 years. For current year, amortization is 0, unamortized amount also 0, because amortized over a 4 years period. For the amount spent 3 years back, for this amount, the amortization will start now. This divided by 4 years amortization. Okay, so for current year also you will amortize, because first third minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 and current year. 0 means current year. Then for the amount spent 2 years back, this 10,40,000 divided by 4 years. Now in second year, written off now. 3 years we have written off. Unamortized amount will be this amount minus whatever has been amortized so far. Unamortized amount is carried forward in the balance sheet as an asset. Minus 1, amount spent in the last year. We would have started amortizing this amount, 12 lakhs divided by 4, 3 lakhs, and current year we would have amortized 3 lakhs. Out of 12 lakhs, 6 lakhs is amortized. Unamortized amount would have been 6 lakhs. For the amount spent now, current year, out of 14 lakhs, you would have amortized for 4 years period, okay, 3 lakh 50. Balance will be 14 lakhs minus 3 lakh 50,000. So for current year, that is period 0, okay, whatever is the amount charged, that will be charged in P&L account. This will be recognized in profit and loss account. Okay, the amortization comes because of current year expense and because of past year expense to be charged in the current year profit and loss account. And unamortized amount, that will be taken as human resource asset in the balance sheet. See, unamortized amount becomes HR value. Okay, so this much is recognized in P&L account and this much is recognized as what? Like a prepaid expense or a deferred revenue expenditure, unamortized value. This is what they call it as human asset capital. Okay, so it's a little different problem that was tested. This is not based on any concept. Probably ICMAI or Chartered Accountants Institutes have developed their own logic in developing this particular problem and given in the exam. Okay, so this is again a HR problem. I request you to pause this and copy it. Okay. Hope you copied this. Next. Valuation of a brand. We'll do it in the next session. So this, let it be an exclusive session on valuation of human resources. So we learnt about how to value human resources using different models, using different models. Okay, number one, historical cost model, it's a theory one. Number two, replacement cost model. Third one is present value of cash flow, that is Levin-Schwartz model we have discussed. Okay, that is one of the most important model for examination point of view also. Then in the last problem we had seen how to amortize training costs. How to amortize training cost we had seen. Okay, so in the next session we will discuss about brand valuation. We will discuss about brand valuation, how to value the brand, how it is going to be different from goodwill valuation. Okay, that we will discuss in the next session. Have a great day. Keep learning, keep updating the notes. Okay, have a great day.